Welcome to Wales. Welcome to a glorious hot sunny day. This is my Kawasaki Z900RS 50th anniversary edition, and I've fitted some new tyres to it, and it's made quite a difference. So what I intend to do in this video is go for a ride up the Black Mountain up here in mid Wales. What a brilliant road to test these tyres out. I'll let you know how they feel, what tyres I've fitted, also a couple of other things that have come up with the bike since my original review. So yeah, if you're interested in that, come for a ride. So welcome to the A4069 Black Mountain Road, otherwise known as the Top Gear Road. And this runs from Llangaddock to Bryn Arman, here just sort of north end of the Brecon Beacons. Fantastic bit of road called the Top Gear Road, or referred to as the Top Gear Road because they use Top Gear to use it for filming. And it is a brilliant road for testing tyres. So let me tell you a bit about how we got this far. So I brought this Z900RS back end of last year, autumn time, and then I got to use it really, don't ride in the winter. So did a few bits and pieces to over the winter, a few modifications and stuff, which you'll see covered off in a previous video. So I did another video with an in-depth review about this bike. I absolutely love it, really love it. It does what it does really well. But one of the things that I didn't really like were the standard tyres. So this bike has covered 4,716 miles, and I changed the tyres about 200 miles ago, and I'm pretty sure they were the original OE tyres. So those tyres had done, 4,500 miles. They've done a fair mileage, and the original tyres on these are Dunlop GPR 300s. Now I've experienced these tyres on other bikes, and in the first review I was pretty scathing about them. Maybe a little bit harsh. I mean, they're a budget tyre, let's face it, they're cheap. But they didn't give me, it wasn't so much the grip. I don't know if they gave me the grip, they didn't give me the feel. So I didn't have enough confidence to push the bike to feel if there was enough grip. I think it's fair to say, riding on the spirited side of maybe Z900RS owners, which is, no disrespect to anybody else at all, but I do tend to ride fairly spirited at times. And what I was just getting was no feedback. Couldn't feel what the front tyre was doing. Yeah, just really limited feedback. Didn't have any confidence. What was interesting was as they started to wear, and they were nearly the end of life when I got the bike, to be honest, they squared off absolutely horridly. Horrendous, probably the worst I've ever seen. But the bizarre thing is, we live here in mid Wales and we ride on roads like this all the time. There's no motorways, no dual carriageway, but it looked like I've been riding on motorways and dual carriageways. Whether that's just a characteristic of that's what that tyre does towards the end of its life, yeah, could well be that. Just watch out, it's often gritty gravel stuff on that bridge. Yeah, so towards the end of their life, they were really horrendous to ride with, because if you've ever ridden with a squared off tyre, what happens is you end up 50p piece in every corner. So in other words, instead of tipping in, you tip in, the bike stands up, you tip in again, the bike stands up. I guess because of it, you've essentially got two sort of curved sides of the tyre, but then the bottom bit is dead flat. In fact, Kate, my wife, said they look like they come off a Harley. So yeah, that made the ride really uncomfortable. And towards the end of their life, we did a road trip to Abu Dhabi in mid Wales. Did quite a few miles from mid Wales up, and Barmouth, sort of back down through mid Wales. It was good, really good trip. Hopefully there's a YouTube of it coming. Oh, blimey, that bird was close. Bloody hell. That was super. I don't know if I hit him or not. I hope not. Whew, that scared me. Alright, sorry about that. Sorry, bird, if I did hit you. Yeah, so we did a few miles up, sort of mid Wales up to North Wales and stuff. And towards the end of that trip, they were horrendous. Hopefully there's a YouTube coming to that trip. We had a stone go through a camera, and the mic stopped working, all sorts of fun and games. So we had a few problems on that video. So will hopefully surface at some stage, maybe in a slightly different format. But yeah, towards the end of that trip they were absolutely horrendous, so they had to be changed basically. And the bike was due its first MOT as well, which was quite good. Always a bit of a landmark occasion, and they were right on the limit, you know. So they were done. So the choice was what to put on it. Just going to concentrate for a little bit as we get a little bit spirited through some of these corners. You might be able to see ahead, that's where we're going, essentially. That's the Black Mountain. Not to be confused with the Black Mountains, which are further over towards Abergavenny in the Brecon Beacons. Different place. So I have a long association, it sounds like I'm sponsored by them, I'm not, but I've been a long time customer of Bridgestone. Use them on our track bikes. In fact, I use them on all my, if I have a choice of tyre, it's Bridgestone. And what I love about the Bridgestones is they all feel the sort of same and give a similar type of feedback. There we go, we're just coming on to the Black Mountain. You'll know here, average 40, and all the 40 cameras have been cut down. So there we go. Yeah, big fan of Bridgestone tyres. I like the consistency. I like the fact that it doesn't matter which one you go for, they have a similar feel. So it was a bit of a toss-up, but I decided to go for the Bridgestone S22 in the end. And they are definitely more of a sporty tyre, I would suggest. In fact, I've used them on track bikes previously. When I sort of first started doing track days, I used to run S22s, and they were fine. Now I've been superseded by the S23. It does mean that the S22s are a bit of a bargain, and I managed to get a pair of S22s for 250 quid, which I was pretty happy about. Yeah, you know, tyres are horrendously expensive now, so I was very happy with that. Let's just get past this guy. Doesn't mind seeing me. Right, yeah, so I managed to get myself a set of Bridgestone S22s. And, well, as you can see, they're not bad. They are giving me that feedback that I was so dearly searching for. They call this corner Evo corner. It's super tight, first gear, never quite sure which gear to be in. Right, car just let me pass, very kind of him. So yeah, so they're giving me the feel that I was looking for, which is fantastic. And now I can feel, as I tip into a corner, I can hold a constant lean angle, and just get that confidence coming back to me that the tyre is gripping and doing what it should be. Or not, as the case may be. You know, if the tyre's not feeling there's so much grip, it's telling me that, and then I can adjust my riding accordingly. Now, one thing the changing tyres has done, of course, there are always consequences. What I should say is I appreciate everyone's got a different opinion on tyres. Totally get that. So other people say S22 is totally over the top for a bike like this. Yeah, and they prefer other brands, and that's absolutely fine. This is just my opinion and my experience. But so the tyres definitely improve the handling of the bike. I can now get it to do what I want and go where I point it within reason. But what it started to do is highlight some other deficiencies. Now, it's not so much the tyre is highlighting the deficiencies, but that tyre is allowing me to push harder, ride faster through the corners, which is now starting to upset the suspension more than I was getting before. So that's just an interesting fact, I suppose. I suppose it's fairly obvious. We know these bikes have got fairly, mid-range suspension, unless you get the SE model, of course, which comes with the Öhlins. And what I'm finding, and I've had suspension set up, so I am going to go and see my suspension man and get him to have a twiddle with the twiddlies and see whether we can adjust some of these issues I'm having out. But what I'm finding is, if the bike goes over a bump, or I'm pushing on and it gets unsettled, it starts to get into a pogo motion. That's what I very untechnically describe it as. And once the suspension starts pogo into compress, release, compress, release, compress, release, it kind of gets stuck in that kind of momentum, I suppose, which is a little bit unsettling. So I know in response to my first review on the bike, when I went into suspension, some people had said they had the suspension done and upgraded and stuff, so that may be something we need to look into, or maybe we need to accept that this is not the bike for doing crazy speeds and high corner speed and all that sort of stuff. I've got other bikes for that if I want to do that, and to enjoy it for what it is. So as you can see, it's not causing me a huge amount of problem today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop in a minute. I'll turn around and go back up to the viewpoint where we went past. I'm going to stop and I'm going to show you something about these tyres, which actually is something that Kate, my wife, pointed out to me. Okay, so here it is. Fine looking bike it is, and not the worst backdrop. So what Katie said to me about these tyres is they look too modern. And it's an interesting point. Yeah, they do have a very sporty profile. All Bridgestones have the same sort of grip pattern, and it is quite sporty. Look at the back. And bearing in mind the Z900RS, a lot of it is about the looks. Hence why I changed the tank badges and the exhaust and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. Don't know what other people think. Is it a problem? Not massively. It's about the ride for me, and I need that grip and that confidence, but I do get the point that maybe they don't look quite right. So moving away from the tyres, for other things that I've done to the bike, well, in the other video I covered the fact that I fitted this pyramid colour-coded belly pan, which is lovely. Can't really see, but right in there near the downpipes, the paint was getting chipped. It wasn't actually the paint that was getting chipped, because these are they've got like a gel coat. I think what was happening, the actual gel coat was chipping off because the chips were quite deep, and then the base colour is then coming, white is coming through. So I've touched that in and then put some clear protective tape. See how that does. To be fair, the instructions did say to protect the front of the belly pan from stone chips, because it would chip. So yeah, I can't really complain. Well, that was all very pleasant. Got talking to some guys, talking for ages. That is what biking is all about. So yeah, very nice to chat. So yes, I was saying about the other bits, that were sort of done to the bike, so to protect the belly pan. Serves me right for not reading the instructions. Other than that, I haven't done too much else other than the tyres really. So when we went, I mentioned earlier, we did a trip up through Mid Wales into North Wales, and that was really good. So I just put a tail pack, I'll drop a picture, I put a tail pack on the back of the bike, on the rear seat, and a tank bag, and it was absolutely perfect. Brilliant for a couple of nights away. Absolutely spot on. So yeah, really enjoyed that. I'm really enjoying riding it. Watch out for any suicidal sheep down here. I was going to say, I need to make sure my tyres are warm back up before we commit too much, but however, it is so warm. If you've never ridden in Wales, by the way, basically, you've got to do it. Easy for me to say, I know, we live here, but you've got to come and do it. Come and experience these roads for yourself. What else about the bike? So, brakes need a good tug. I think I mentioned that on the initial review. I guess now I'm carrying a bit more corner speed with the tyres that I'm happier with. I'm noticing a bit more, so we might need to have a look at maybe the brake pads that we've got in there, see if we can up-spec them slightly. Other than that, we're pretty much happy with the bike. I'm very happy with how it looks. Yes, I don't intend, might need sheep, don't intend doing much else to it other than riding it. Yeah, that's the one thing we need is time, more time to ride. But mind the sheep. But yeah, so yeah, got no plans to change anything else really. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. I know tyres are pretty, everyone's got a different opinion stuff, which is all good. Just thought I'd share with you how what I did with mine and what my response is, and also Z900RS life generally. It seems to be quite popular on YouTube, so it's good. And I'll continue to provide updates of anything we do, and if we're doing trips on it and stuff like that. So yeah, so if you could subscribe to our channel, that would be amazing. It doesn't cost anything. You just click the subscribe button. That really helps us. Yes, so please ride safe, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video.